what is a sleeper, folks? What is a sleeper? We're going to go full WTYP Socratic method here and understand what the hell things are. We're going to start with what is a sleeper, because this is an episode about sleepers. So what is a sleeper? Well, here is here is a sample picture of a track form. Here it is. In fact, I'm going to quickly let's just make my pen white because I think it'll make everything a bit easier. There we are, white pen. Here it is. So we've got a rail here. There's a rail, and we've got the head of the rail, the foot of the rail, the web. There it is. There's the head. Here's the foot. Here's the web. We have some form of fastening. There we are, see on both sides, applying a tow load into the foot of the rail. There, you've kind of got an elasticated pad there that between the rail and this lump of concrete here. You know, this lump of concrete here, though, this thing has a variety of purposes. But this thing is a sleeper. This is a sleeper. So if we lay them out, these bits out, there we go. You've got the rail. We've got a fastening of some kind. We have the ballast upon which it sits. If we go back, you can see there's a load of stones that the rail's sitting on. A simple form of the railway. Traditionally, it sits on ballast. There we are, lovely. So we've got some ballast. And then you've got this diddle here, which is apparently called a sleeper. There we are. It's a sleeper. Now, what's the point of this thing? Firstly, we have to understand what the purpose of this thing is. Well, there's a couple of purposes. The first purpose, number one, is actually when the rails sort of sit here and sit here, it's to keep those rails a very set distance, reliably a very set distance apart, i.e. to maintain track gauge. So you're going to want to make sure that it's resisting all forces both this way and this way to keep the rails set to the appropriate gauge. A standard gauge often is standard gauge, but a standardized gauge of some kind, whether it's 1435 millimeters or another gauge. So the lines, these lines, here's the lines are nice and thick. That's fine. It's fine. Gareth, if you're watching on your phone, you'll have to put some work in. I don't know what I'm drawing here. I'm just doing some scribbles. Anyway, so we have rail, fastener, ballast, and sleeper. So we know that one of the things that it does is maintain track gauge between the two rails. The other thing is what we call, and I think I've mentioned this in the previous rail matter, the principle of load transfer is it's whilst maintaining horizontal kind of managing horizontal loads, it also has to manage vertical loads from the wheel down into the track form. So it takes loads from the axle, so from the train down here. There it is, coming down here. The load kind of diddles through here, into the rail, through the pad, into the sleeper. So it takes those loads and then transfer those loads out into the ballast, sort of out into the ballast and then out into the wider world as well. So it kind of acts as the interface between the rail, some form of resilient connection to the rail, and then out to the ballast. And ideally, you'd have a little like undersleeper pad here as well, a little sort of thing stuck into the bottom of the sleeper, but no, that's for the future. Oh, you're on the laptop, Gareth. Oh, okay. The answer is no. I don't think I can make the line any thicker, I'm afraid. Let's have a look. No, that's our options. No, that's it. So anyway, principal load transfer. It's about taking those loads, transferring them down. That's fine. The wheel seems quite small. Yeah, it's diagrammatic, isn't it? I've sketched it up. So. Oh, by the way, the principal load transfer is the thing that allows. It's about taking all those, enough forces that are enough to basically liquefy steel, and transferring them down. So about 1,000 megapascals, 1 gigapascal, on this interface here, this one here, about a gigapascal, which is enough to liquefy steel, down to here at this point where you've got about 50 kilopascals, which is. Your skin can sustain that sort of a load, so you could support the track under your hand. I would not recommend it, though. So, for mixed stress units, going down between gigapascals, megapascals, kilopascals, you'll get over it. Anyway, so, well, this is a pixely sketch. That's gone a bit weird. Anyway, it's fine. It's a diagrammatic sketch. You can use your imaginations. Here is some track with the wheels on it in three dimensions. So we take an axle load. That's the first thing we do. How do we work out what sleepers should look like? We take an axle load, From that axle load, we can get this little diagram here where you can see the little rails here sat on the sleepers. We're maintaining track gauge, but also you can see that under each there's kind of a pressure. It's almost a diagram of pressure here being applied. So under each rail, you get this sort of kind of W shape of pressure. That's the ballast pressure that's being applied into the ballast, and from that, you can work out. If you're making millions of sleepers, you want them to be quite material efficient. In the past, they were just a single kind of cuboid. The advantage of using materials that you can shape more carefully is you can start being efficient with the materials. So here you get what's called essentially it's a bending moment diagram. So for those of you who are familiar with engineering mechanics, if you have a bending moment diagram, which is underneath the rails, you've got the kind of the loads coming in here like this and like this. Really, it's straight down, and that means that you've got there's more bending going on. Kind of here, the kind of the way that it's bending through, because this bit's going down and these bits kind of want to go up because the ballast is pushing them. So that means that you get this kind of this shape of kind of bending moment within the sleeper, which in turn, if you kind of flip that upside down, that's kind of the shape that if you imagine you've got your rail upside down like this, there you are. If you spin your head around, that's kind of the shape of a sleeper, right? So that's how you get the shape. That's how you understand how to be efficient with the materials. That's why the sleepers have that shape, which then allows you to, actually define the profile of the sleeper and mass produce the damn things. So that's kind of how you get to the shape of a sleeper. Here's what they used to look like, though. So before you could shape sleepers, they were just a cuboid. Yeah, they were just a funny little cuboid. There you can see why were they funny cuboid? Because they were made out of timber. So you can see an outline. This is some nice, there's a nice sort of timber sleeper here on this bit. There you can see, and you can see another one here. There are. See, timber sleeper, fine. And yeah, there you are. Sleepers, load of them, lots and lots of them. Very straightforward. When you've got lots of wood available, fine, do that. Fairly straightforward. Wood's quite a good resilient material for transferring loads from the rail down into the track system. For pretty reliably, to be honest, and they've got a decent life as well. Point of note for our international followers: a sleeper is also known as a tie, but sleepers are not bearers. Whilst a sleeper has the kind of this shape like that. Oh, geez. A sleeper might kind of have this shape. I'm doing a bad job. A sleeper might have this sort of shape. Kind of like that, and you've kind of got the rail like this. There, fine. It's on a curve. It's worn. Whilst you've got a sleeper, a bearer is generally a thing that's straight like this. There, that's a bit better, because you might well have some rails on it there, and then you might have some other rails on it here. These are my awful rails. But you get the point. As part of S&C. So a bearer is a thing that's flat right the way through, and you can basically put rails anywhere on it. It doesn't have to kind of be a standard thing. A sleeper is the standard one that you get in plain line. So there you are. Sleepers are not bearers.